Hello! Today I'm bringing you my March wrap-up because it's the first day of April! Yeah! So, this was not a brilliant reading month for me. I read 5 books, but 2 of those books were over 800 pages. So, cut me some slack, eh? This brings my Goodreads reading challenge up to 26 books out of 102. So I do have a fair way to go, but once I finish reading what I'm reading, I'll be able to pick out some shorter books. So, yes. Let's get started! The first book I read in March was The Infinite Sea by Rick Yancey. This is the second book in the Fifth Wave trilogy. And honestly, unpopular opinion, I thought this was better than the Fifth Wave. It had a bit more action, a bit more going on, and it's a shorter book, so there was nothing that was stretched out. But I still didn't enjoy it massively. I gave it 3 stars. That's kind of a generous 3 stars, 2.75 more accurately. But I think this was just a better book. The smaller length, I felt, actually lent itself more to the story. If you don't know what the Fifth Wave is about, it's basically aliens have unleashed these waves of attacks on Earth, and it follows this girl Cassie, who thinks she is the last girl alive, and she needs to get her brother back from these people that took her brother away, which you all learn about in the Fifth Wave. So, yes, The Infinite Sea, 3 stars, a generous 3 stars, but yes, I did read it, so. Next up was probably my favourite book of the month, which was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book was just phenomenal, and I don't think I'd ever be able to fathom how to put into words what I want to say about this book. I just know it was amazing. It wasn't that fast-paced, but the pace was steady and really lent itself to the story it was telling, which is basically everyone's living mostly in this virtual reality called the Oasis, and the creator of the Oasis has died, and he's left behind an Easter egg. And this Easter egg is a big thing, and they want to find the egg. And basically the main character, Wade, he solves the first riddle of the Easter egg hunt. So yes, it's very exciting, and it blended this kind of dystopian reality with this online world where anything can happen, and it was just so fun. The characters were really just nerdy. It was all really nerdy. Not that I understood some of the references, but it was still really nerdy and I loved it. And yeah, I felt there were some really cool action kind of sequences. And yeah, this book was just phenomenal. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm very excited that Steven Spielberg is directing the film adaptation of this book. After that, I picked up a big book, and that was A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. The first book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, and yes, I gave this 5 stars, so it was just so amazing, and it's a epic fantasy world where everyone basically wants the Iron Throne, because why not? And this one deals more with trying to keep the king on the throne, and follows mostly the adventures of the Stark family, specifically Ned Stark, and what happens to him when he moves to become the King's Hand. And the overarching storyline for the Song of Ice and Fire, I believe, is that there are the others / White Walkers are coming down from the north beyond the wall. And it's kind of like a magical kind of hints that are slowly growing as the series goes on. Well, as far as I know, so far that's what I feel. But yes, the others are kind of like ice zombies. And yes, it's very exciting, very dense, the text is very heavy, the description is heavy, but it's so well done that you don't really notice, and it's really engrossing. So yes, I read A Game of Thrones. The penultimate book I read was The Supernaturalists by Owen Colfer. This is a book that I read when I was younger, I think about 8 years ago, and I bought it last month used, and I just wanted to have a read. It's really short, and it was just really fun. You know, sometimes you just need a fun read. It follows this kid who escapes from an orphanage and joins this group called the Supernaturalists, who see these blue creatures, and they hunt the blue creatures, and it's so much more complicated than that. But yes, I really enjoyed this book. It's a very fun book. I gave it 4 stars, just like I remember it. Fun, action-packed, fast-paced, just a nice little light book in between a Game of Thrones and a Clash of Kings. This book is absolutely huge. So much does happen, I would give it that much, but it was just so good. I preferred the first one, I think, ever so slightly, because some of the characters in the first one don't make it into the second one, because that's what The Song of Ice and Fire is, basically. So, yes, I'm very excited to have finished this one. I gave it 5 stars, and it's just so engaging. The characters developed. All the characters were developing and aging at a very weird rate that I couldn't keep up with. I won't give you any plot details for this because spoilers for the first one, but just know that if you read the first one and were unsure, you need to move on through the series. You need to read the second one, at least, because the second one, loads of stuff is happening. Loads of stuff does happen, but don't ask me to explain it, because it's kind of a point where I'm like, I could remember what happened if you told me what happened, but don't ask me to try and tell you the story inside out, because it's huge and I don't remember all those details. So, yes, that's my March wrap-up. And now I will move on to an April TBR. And the book I'm going to be finishing first, which I started in the last few days of March, is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. I'm currently about 400 pages in, and I am loving it so far. Like, such a lot is happening. And yes, this has just been a really good one. Everyone says this is the best in the series, and it has the best ratings on Goodreads. And currently I'm not seeing it as the best one, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. So after this one, I will be picking up A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons. Did I get it right? Yes. I'm very excited to move on through this series. So yes, I will be reading these 2 this month. Hopefully I will be able to finish them both. We'll see. I have also started reading The Novice, part of the Summoner series by Taryn Matheru, and I've got that on my phone as an e-book, and I'm excited to read that one, and I have started it. I've read a chapter, so I'm doing really well there. But I will be reading those 3, that one, and if I have time, I will be moving on to The Awakening and The Reckoning, which are books 2 and 3 in the Darkest Powers trilogy. I'm not sure whether I'm going to get to them because these things are huge and huge. So I will be trying to get to these as well. I'm not optimistic I'm going to finish them both, but if I just can get through The Awakening at least, I'll be happy with myself. I feel like I'm going to probably take another week to read this one. Like 9 days, hopefully, on those 2, and that will give me enough time to read them both. But we'll see, it depends on how long those actually are, because I haven't looked at the page numbers. But yes, that's my April TBR. So, yeah, I'll see you soon. Goodbye.